These protests erupting across the country are once again putting the spotlight on race and police brutality. Rashawn Ray is professor of sociology at the University of Maryland and a Rubenstein Fellow on governance studies at the Brookings Institution. Rashawn, always good to see you. So, what do these police-involved shootings, particularly that of Duante Wright and Adam Toledo, say to you and say to all of us about the state of policing in America, especially as jurors in the Derek Chauvin case are soon to deliberate after the killing of George Floyd?
Well, Fred, it's always great to be on with you. I mean, look, research documents overwhelmingly that there are racial disparities in policing. And I think what's happening, what's spilling over into our streets, is that people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They are tired of turning on the news or pulling up something on social media, showing the ways that black and brown people are being over-policed and brutalized. And I think it speaks to fractures within American policing. And people just need to admit, unfortunately, that race and racism play a role. And the quicker we can admit that, the quicker we can start to move to a place where we can find solutions across the board.
I spoke with a former police officer earlier today, and he was saying, you know, there are a lot of changes that are needed from technology, the way in which, people are trained, but then also being able to weed out and teach sensitivity among the forces, and sometimes the disconnect between those who are policing and the communities they've served. There's just too much of a gap. What do you say to how to change that or address those issues?
Well, look, I think it's hard to train out racism, and it's unclear if culture is reformable. So what we have to do is to pass legislation that actually holds people accountable for their treatment of other people. Part of what I've been suggesting is that we need to have police department insurance policies and police officer liability insurance. That's important because qualified immunity, and then coupled with the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights, oftentimes allows for bad officers to get away with the sort of things that we've been seeing. But we've been seeing changes. Look, from New York to Colorado to New Mexico, they have repealed qualified immunity. In Maryland, they have repealed the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights. So it starts with the funding. We know that over the past just 5 years, if we look at at the top 20 metro areas, they have spent over $2 billion with the B in civilian payouts for police misconduct. That comes from tax money, not the police department budget.
Yeah, I heard Philando Castile's mother saying last night that particularly of those officers who are guilty of, unjustifiable force, there is no price that's being paid because the cities or the jurisdictions are paying those penalties, but it doesn't come out. There's no pain that those officers who are responsible for these actions, they don't feel the pain. That was her solution as well. So there is a lot of anguish, in the black community, particularly now. Frustration from voting rights to racial injustices, officer-involved shootings, and all of this coming with a sort of heightened distrust in police, city government, federal leadership even. So where, in your view, does hope lie?
Well, look, I think hope lies in people. And I think oftentimes when we look at people, what they want to see are changes. And not just police reform, but transformation. And as much as we talk about these bad apples, we have to admit these bad apples come from somewhere. And they oftentimes come from rotten trees in policing. That's what I've been writing about. That's what research documents. And so what we need are changes, not just in thinking about training. Yes, that's important. But we also have to make changes that can hold these bad apples accountable. We need national databases, state databases, so that bad apples cannot simply move from one department to the next. And we need to ensure that when a person is riding down the street, that they are not stopped or searched because of the color of their skin.
You're a father of two African-American boys. What are you telling them, or what are you bracing for in your discussions with them about what to expect as young black men in America, what to expect on any potential encounters with police?
That's always the difficult question. What I do is I'm very honest with them. I tell them that they cannot outclass racism, that being young and gifted and yet black oftentimes will lead to them having deleterious outcomes with law enforcement in corporate America or at school. And part of what I help them to understand is that then we must advocate for the type of changes that we want to see. So, of course, I tell them the normal things that parents would tell kids when they're stopped by police, but I'm also very clear with them that those sort of things might not always protect them. And what I want them to do is to do whatever they have to do to get home safely. And then we can address the mistreatment and misjustice after that.
All right, Rashawn Ray, thank you so much. Always good to see you. Appreciate it. And appreciate your wisdom.
Thank you.